Right, good evening. Now I'd like to bring the regular evening meeting of Township Council to order. And the first item is the adoption and receipt of the agenda items. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Arneson, second. Councillor Davis. All those in favor? Opposed and carried. Thank you. And adoption. Next item is adoption of the minutes of the regular evening council meeting December 12th and the public hearing meeting of December 12th. Could I have a motion for both? Councillor Fox and Councillor Whitmarsh, seconds. Any errors or omissions? All those in favor? Opposed, and that's carried. There are no presentations. We do have two delegations. The first delegation is Andrea McCauley from Sassy Awards Langley. If Andrea is here. Thank you. Please come forward. And you'll have 5 minutes. Yes, right at the podium. I'll get your mic on. You have 5 minutes. There'll be little flashing lights in front of you to let you know when your time is getting close. And if you just state your name and address or neighborhood that you live in for the record. Thank you.
I'm not Andrea.
No, I know you don't look like Andrea.
do you want me to go first? Andrea McCauley, and I'm actually out in Aldergrove, but yeah.
Thank you.
And my name is Rod Wainwright, and I live in Walnut Grove. And we're here on behalf of the Sassy Project. And the Sassy Project is a project of the 4 Rotary Clubs of Langley. And we're both members of the Rotary Club of Langley Sunrise, which is based in Walnut Grove. The Sassy Project, which stands for, it's an acronym for Service Above Self, Student and Youth. And it was something that we adopted that Surrey had started about 8 years ago, and this will be our 2nd year. So tonight, I'm going to let Andrea take over and sort of fill you in on what it's all about, because she's younger, she's got a memory.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully, I was talking to one of you earlier. Hopefully, some of you have had a chance to take a look at the website. If you haven't, no big deal. But the website is sassyawardslangley.ca. So as Rod said, we are in our 2nd year. Surrey is in their 8th year. And just for comparison, in our first year, we received 42 applications for nominations. And Surrey was in their 7th year, and they got 71. So from how are we doing? We did okay in our first year. So basically what the purpose of this is to bring together everyone from basically all corners of Langley and have an opportunity to recognize some truly exceptional youth in our community. Hopefully some of those youth that will, maybe someday be councillors themselves. So it's for age 15 to 21. And again, that key piece with these nominations that we're looking for is service above self. And the categories there are community service, environmental leadership, international service, overcoming adversity, arts and culture leadership, sports leadership, and youth leadership. So the event itself is kind of a red carpet kind of feel. There's a VIP event just immediately prior to the show itself. And then during the awards show, we recognize the youth. We have musical performances, dance performances of the arts. It's kind of I don't want to say a variety show because that makes it kind of sound a little bit less than what it is. But it is a true red carpet feel. So how the awards themselves work, there are 3 nominee finalists in every category. The 2 runner-ups will receive this year. This is a brand new thing for us. They will receive $500 that they are to donate back to a charity of their choosing. And then the main recipient of each award will receive $1,500, so $1,000 cash to them, and then $500 for them to give to a charity of their choice. So that way, even those 2 runner-ups, maybe they didn't necessarily receive a trophy, but at least they've walked away with that feeling of having done something good for someone else, which, again, sticks with our service above self piece that we believe so firmly in. Did I miss anything?
No.
No? I got a good memory, apparently. Any questions for me?
That's April 27th.
Thursday, April 27th, yeah.
Okay. And is it open to the public or pre-sales on tickets, or how does one go?
It is open to the public. This is a free event. We'll happily take donations at the door, and there is limited seating. So, if a family is really want to attend and they want to make sure they have a set number of tickets, just contact us, and our contact info is all on the website.
Great, thank you. And Councillor Fox says.
Okay.
Thank you, Andrea, for coming. It's too bad you had to bring that other guy along, but that's okay. Applications, when do they close?
Oh, why do I not have that? April, is it the 1st or this?
Something like that, yeah.
Is it the 1st?
April
1st?
1st, so there's still lots of time.
Lots of time.
If anybody in the audience has somebody that they, through their organization, want to nominate, go to the website, and the application process is on there.
Yes, so the application is available online, and you know, if you're not a website kind of person, you want to do Facebook, we're on Twitter, it's all there. You just got to look for Sassy Awards Langley.
Sassy Awards Langley, and that
Yeah.
will direct you to it. So,
Yeah.
and have you been in touch with the schools? I assume you probably have, as best you can, and
Yes.
that route, going that route in terms
Yes.
of getting the word out.
So we have full support from the Langley School Foundation as well as the school district itself. Posters have gone out, nominations, like the application forms have been sent out to counselors, I believe to principals as well. We'll be meeting with the principals of Langley on Wednesday as well.
So, through your worship, if I could just say I did go last year. I would encourage anybody who has any doubt about the capacity and the capabilities of the youth of Langley to go. You'll find some absolutely amazing stories of how our young people have accomplished a wide variety of things in their life, whether they be academic or other. And there's a lot of other. This is not just an academic award. And I think it gives us older folks, or older generation, or whatever you want to call us, hope and security, to knowing that there's such strong leadership forthcoming in our community, as demonstrated by these young people. So it certainly, I found it excellent, and the program featured local musical talent, her brothers, which is out of Aldergrove. If any of you know that, amongst others that were there. So I highly recommend it. I've got it marked.
Thanks. And nominations no later than Friday, email March 3rd, and mailed, postmarked no later than February 24th.
There you go.
Got that off the website. And Councillor Richter.
I'm the event coordinator. The nominations, that's somebody else.
That's right. Councillor Richter has a question, comment.
I just wanted to put a good word in, if I could, for the young people who worked on the youth homelessness initiative in Langley, and
Which is something that we gave some light to at our show last year. That was one of their first major presentations, was during our award show. So that was kind of the launching pad for them as they went off and have accomplished some pretty amazing things. So
yes, they have, and I hope they get an award this year.
fingers crossed.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's everything. Thanks. Okay. The next delegation is Brent Dolfo from Langley Mustangs Track and Field. Hello, Brent.
Good evening. I'm here on the urging of township staff. I think this summer we were all gripped as we were watching the Olympic Games, through the 100 meters, the 200 meters, and the 4x100 meters, to see if Canadian Andre DeGrasse could keep up with the legend Usain Bolt. And I think millions of Canadians were glued to their television set during those times to hear that, to watch those races. We have an opportunity from the Township of Langley to consider hosting the 2019-2020 Canadian Track and Field Championships that would be the Canadian trials for Tokyo 2020 and the World Track and Field Championships. This fall, after discussion with Township staff, our track club that's based here in the Township of Langley put in a letter of intent to being considered to be one of the host city for those championships, which also include the Canadian Paralympic Track and Field Championships, which again would be the trials for the 2020 Paralympic Games, as well as the 2019 Track and Field Championships, and also the Canadian Junior Track and Field Championships are built into those. So there are, we've been named one of 6 potential cities for that. The others would be Montreal, Ottawa, Guelph, Edmonton, Calgary, and the Township of Langley. And so what we're asking Council to consider is some of the upgrades that may be needed for McLeod Athletic Park to bring it up to the standards by which a Canadian Track and Field Championships can be hosted. I believe you know that the track itself at MAP has been in for quite a number of years, and township staff had scheduled 2019 or perhaps even 2018 for the year in your budget for the track to be replaced and upgraded. And so what we would be asking is for if township would consider moving that to 2018 so that we would be able to host in 2019 and 2020. I've given you a one-pager, which I'm sure you have looked at or are looking at. The economic impact the last couple of years in Alberta was $5.4 million of economic activity came into the city of Edmonton in 2016 associated with the National Track and Field Championships. As you would imagine, there is a vast host of media and television broadcasts associated with it. And so it is an opportunity that we would have in the township perhaps to bring the world's greatest sprinter to here, as well as a number of top international Canadian athletes. And so I don't know if there's any questions. I have more details, but I thought I would ask you if you had any questions.
Yes, thank you. Very exciting. Oh, my goodness. For young athletes and getting ready for the Olympics, that would be fabulous to have them here in Langley. Now, you did mention we're going to need upgrades to the Municipal Athletic Park.
Yes.
Can you give me a general idea what kind of upgrades
Sure.
and how much?
And what we've done, just so you're aware of, we brought an official from Athletics Canada in before Christmas with Al Neufeld, who you all know, to do a walkabout and to really determine exactly all the things that would be required. And so you might want to refer back to staff some of those issues, but the majority of the cost is the actual resurfacing of the track itself. There are some minor upgrades that are needed in certain areas to make sure that we meet international standards. I can give you all those details if you wanted, but certainly staff would have those.
So did staff give you any idea what kind of money we're talking about here?
Yeah, the staff we're looking at about $1.5 million. The majority of that, I think probably up to around 85 to 90% of that was scheduled to be done already in 2019 with the track upgrades. There would be some smaller things to increase seating capacity. We would have to be able to have some kind of technical things like power on each side of the track. We'd have to upgrade pole vault slightly, a little bit in high jump. Just minor things to make sure that we would fit the criteria.
So all you really need is for us to bring it forward a budget year.
Yeah, we're asking you to bring it forward a budget year. And just so you're aware, we have to submit the final bid package in early March. And so we have a deadline that we would need council to decide whether they were willing to look at moving that forward a year, because we would have to submit a letter of support from the municipality to host the event.
And is that March of 2017 or 2018?
March of 2017, all the bids are due to Ottawa.
Great, thanks for that clarification.
Thank you. Councillor Whitmarsh.
Yeah, thank you. This is a very exciting possibility, one of the more significant athletic events that a city like ours could host in this country. Just a couple of questions. I know you're asking, you're going to be bidding on 2019-20. Is that common that they're dual-year bids?
Yeah, they award them in 2-year increments. So, for example, the last 2 years were in Edmonton. The 2 years before that were in Moncton. 2 previous years were in Toronto. What they've discovered is that with the infrastructure that's being spent by municipalities, as well as the organizing capacity needed to pull off an event, that it's good to award it in 2-year cycles. You may remember that we were awarded the Canadian Youth Track and Field Championships, which we hosted here, and again, that was in a 2-year cycle.
Right, okay. And so I noticed that in the letter information we have that the time of the championship in 2019 is actually 1 month different than the year in 2020. I'm asking if that was correct.
Here's why.
It was adjusted.
Here's why is the World Championships in 2019 are in Qatar. And so because of the heat of the summer, they're moving the World Championships, which is typically in the summer window, back to the fall, to October. So Athletics Canada wants less time between the trials and the actual championships. If it was a month earlier, it would be too long in terms of their prep cycle.
Right, okay, so that's helpful. I'm wondering, on different bids that are made for different championships and what your sort of optimism is for success. I noticed there's 6 different cities bidding. I'm assuming they probably try and move it around the country a little bit. It was in Edmonton the last 2 years. I'm not sure where the next 2 are going. What are your sort of sense of it? You must have had a lot of conversations as to how successful or where we're.
Yeah, there has traditionally been an east-west alternation. So again, 2012 was Calgary. The next 2 years went to Toronto. Then came back to Edmonton. Went to Moncton, then back to Edmonton. This next 2 years, it's in Ottawa. British Columbia has not hosted these championships in over 20 years, so we hope that there's a favorable response because of that. Edmonton and Calgary have been in the last hosting cycles. So while there's no guarantees, obviously, and they're trying to say everything's as transparent as possible, we are hopeful with a good bid put together that we would have a good chance of hosting the championships.
Right. Okay. I'm just as a final thing, certainly you suggested us moving ahead the completion of the track a year earlier. Is there other things that could possibly help your bid that the township could be helpful with over the next 4 to 6 weeks?
Yeah, we'll be working with Tourism Langley to help us on some of the hotel kind of details. We'll work with staff in terms of some of the transportation plan that would be needing to be put together, as well as we're still needing some assistance in terms of some of the corporate sponsorship side and putting some of that together, and at least a skeleton of what that might look like for the bid. So there's a number of people that we need to be in touch with. Township staff felt like probably the first step, though, was me speaking tonight and you guys considering that, because there's no use us putting all that work in place if the council doesn't decide to move ahead the refurbishing of the track. It would be a moot point.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Long.
Well, thanks, Your Worship. And at the end of the meeting, the mayor gives us the opportunity to advance things from delegations to staff, so we'll be doing that. I imagine that odds will be pretty good if it hasn't been in British Columbia for 20 years, so that's good, isn't it?
At least that part's good news.
No,
yes.
my question was about volunteers. I imagine there's a huge force of volunteers required. What kind of volunteer force would you have to come up with?
Yeah, we would probably have to come up with several hundred volunteers, and so we actually think, because of the success of Langley with the BC Summer Games that our club hosted with the track and field, or the Canadian Youth Championships, we do have a good track record of having volunteers from the community and from the surrounding track and field community throughout the Fraser Valley. So we're not so much worried about that piece, even though that's always lots of hard work.
Well, good luck. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
presentation. Thanks, Your Worship.
Councillor Qualley.
Thank you. Yes, good luck with the bid. I'll be anxious to hear how it goes. Is MAP the only facility that you'll need? Will you need any other spaces for warm-up or?
Well, MAP is big enough that we can actually incorporate all the components that are necessary for that. So, for example, a little piece of the upgrade is a warm-up track, a 60-meter warm-up spot, which we can easily do in behind MAP where the old track was. It just needs to be surfaced. We have, like I said, the Canadian Paralympic Championships are embedded in the national championships, and we've already met with BC Wheelchair Sports, have come and done an audit of the facility and have sort of mapped up everything that we'll need for the Paralympic side as well. So the whole facility there, there'll be a number of events, media events, and surrounding events that will be associated with the championships that Athletics Canada will host. They host their Hall of Fame Awards dinner at the same time of the national championships, but those can all be done in facilities in Langley and in the township.
Are there, subsequent to the games, would there be opportunities then for this to be used as maybe a training facility going forward? I mean, the upgrades will obviously serve the community and our local users, but...
Well, our track club, Langley Mustangs, have been there for some 30 years in the community, and we have a strong partnership as well with Trinity Western University, and so the facility is being used, and we will certainly take advantage of the upgrades that would happen for that. As you know, all the schools in Langley use MAP for their track and field time, so the whole community would benefit from the legacy of the games, and obviously just the raising of the profile of track and field in the region, and all the associated events we would have in schools and kids at the events, those kind of things, hopefully would increase the number of people that were using the facility as well.
Yeah, thank you. Again, good luck with the submission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you. Okay, so now we go on to bylaws of first and second reading, and F1 is rezoning application number 100470, bylaw number 5256. Could I have a motion, Council, please? Council Fox, and seconder, Councillor Qualley. Any discussion on F1? Seeing none, I'll call the question on F1. That carries unanimously. Now we move on to H, bylaws for consideration at third reading. This is rezoning application number 100451, development permit application 100858, and bylaw 5244. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Fox, and second by Councillor Long. Discussion on H1. Seeing none, I'll call the question on H1. That carries with Councillor Richter and Councillor Arneson opposed. And now we move on to bylaws for final adoption. And this would be I1 is highway closure, dedication, removal, and disposal, bylaw 5240. Can I have a motion, please? Councillor Davis, Councillor Sparrow, seconds. Any discussion on I1? Seeing none, call the question. That carries with Councillor Arneson opposed. Move on to I2, and that's the 2017 Revenue Anticipation Borrowing Bylaw number 5254. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Davis, seconder. Councillor Fox. Discussion on I2. Seeing none, call the question. That carries unanimously. Move on to I3, and this is rezoning application number 100433, bylaw number 5168, Earthquake Preparedness Limited. Can I have a motion, please? And Councillor Long, and seconder, Councillor Fox. Discussion on I3. Seeing none, call the question. That carries unanimously. And so now we move on to the Mayor's report. And tonight, we'll get that set up, is our year in review report, which we do annually, either at the end of December or the first meeting in January. And so we'll spend a little bit more time just to go over some of the highlights. I know Township Council did a lot of work over the year, but we just picked some of the highlights to sort of show everyone. So I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight and wish you all a Happy New Year. And we'll start off with we'll start at the end. The way the year ended and the way the 17 began, it was quite a snow event. Snow, ice, and everything else that could be thrown at us was thrown at us in December and January, and certainly want to thank the crews that worked through the holidays. I know they were working 12-hour shifts to do the best they could to keep our roads open and passable, and it was certainly a unique snow event with the way it rained and then froze and then snowed and then that froze and melted and froze again. It just was really difficult, but I know there's a lot of patience shown by our residents, and our crews worked hard. So I want to thank the crews for that, and hopefully we can get through 2017 without any more of that stuff. 2016 started off with the BC Business Magazine ranking the township number 6 in its annual Best Cities to Work For in BC. But this year, in the 2017 report, we'll be saying that they've moved us up to number 5. And we've, the council, myself, have visited a lot of local businesses, and we're very proud to be moving up the ladder. And to be number 6 and now number 5 is the best place to work in BC. I think it's quite an honor. Still got room to go. We'll get to number 1 yet, I'm sure. Another project, we worked with the Langley Sustainable Agricultural Foundation to spearhead the first Ecological Services Initiative project of its kind on BC's west coast. This initiative rewards farmers for maintaining eco-friendly areas on their land. The 3-year Langley ESI pilot program got underway in early 2016 by finding 10 farms on the Bertrand Creek to participate. And these photos that you see are from Kensington Farm. We were there earlier for the bit of a filming of what we were doing. The public engagement strategy and charter was endorsed by Council in 2016. And this program will help facilitate more open dialogues between our residents, staff, and stakeholders who are looking to design our future communities. And this was after a 9-month task force that, working with a consultant, came back with a charter, an engagement charter, which is the first for the Township of Langley. The Township's bold leadership in the fight against climate change earned national accolades when the Partners for Climate Protection, or PCP, program acknowledged us for achieving the 5th and final milestone in our greenhouse gas reduction program last February. And again, a lot of hard work by our staff. Thank you very much for that. Last summer, a new waste collection program was introduced to make garbage and organics collection simpler and more cost-effective. New wheeled collection carts were delivered to every residential property that receives township collection service. This process will help keep organics out of our landfills and encourage our residents to separate their waste and so we can recycle and reuse. So certainly a program I think has been well received. I know certainly in our house when these showed up, there was a lot of good education provided by township staff to all the residents, and I know it's been working quite well. And then we had to get serious about the illegal dumping in our township. And so the illegal dumping in our township campaign was launched in late June as a bold solution to the expensive and unsafe problem of illegal dumping. The campaign was part of a litter and illegal waste management strategy that is using education, infrastructure, and enforcement to make everyone aware of the problem and associated costs to residents. And on the Aldergrove Credit Union Recreation Center, or Community Center, we continue to work on that. In late February, Council approved construction of a canopy to cover the outdoor pool, and in April, Council voted to add a deep end and a diving board to the 6-lane, 25-meter pool. In August 2016, it was announced that the facility will officially be called the Aldergrove Credit Union Community Center. So work is progressing through design and some preparatory work at the site, and hopefully we'll see some construction start soon. Other township facilities were in the spotlight in 2016 as the Langley Event Center welcomed the Vancouver Giants hockey team in September, and the Langley Rivermen Junior A team have made a new home in the lodge at George Preston Recreation Center. McLeod Athletic Park also welcomed the Whitecaps Football Club 2 for 3 matches in the summer. And this summer, apparently they're planning for up to 6 matches. So great entertainment, sold-out crowds. And as we heard earlier, the McLeod Athletic Park is a great facility in our community, and this only enhances it. So we've got the Giants, and they're having some sellout crowds. Great entertainment. The completion of the Canada Border Services Agency upgrades to the Aldergrove Border Crossing building. There's a brand new building built there, a nice new port of entry. It was celebrated in May, and in August, the start of road improvements to Highway 13 leading up to the border crossing was announced by the province and the federal government. So lots happening there. The East Langley water supply was completed and functioning in the summer of 2016, bringing Metro Vancouver water to thousands of homes, businesses, and schools in East Langley. A project that I think we're all quite happy to see finished, and now that water is flowing. So thank you very much to our staff for working through all of that. A study of the 16th Avenue corridor was conducted by the Township, TransLink, ICBC, Surrey, and Abbotsford, and the BC Ministry of Transportation and Infrastructure to improve safety conditions in the short, medium, and long term. Township Council expedited some of the short-term solutions in August, launched a Speed Kills campaign in conjunction with the RCMP and ICBC to slow down drivers and reduce accidents on 16th Avenue. And as we know, 16th Avenue, it'll be many years to get all of these improvements in, but we certainly are working with the resources that we have to make that a safer route. The Government of Canada, the Province of British Columbia, and Langley Township moved forward with plans to construct an interchange at Highway 1 and 216th Street to alleviate congestion and improve mobility for the Township of Langley residents and other lower mainland commuters. This much-needed connection will reroute some of the traffic from 200th and 208th Street and alleviate congestion in other parts of the township and provide a much-needed connection over the Highway 1. So with that, again, Happy New Year, and we look forward to another productive year in 2017. And so with that, that is my year in review report. Thank you. So now we'll carry on with our agenda. We now move on to other business, and Councillor Fox, some comments on that. Sorry.
Thank you. I just wanted to reflect on the Metro Vancouver representative's report. I have had the opportunity to be appointed to the Metro Vancouver Regional Task Force on Homelessness recently, and in December, and it's both an honor and a pleasure to be working on that and representing the Township of Langley. Homelessness, as you know, is a very hot topic and a very front-of-mind topic in many, many communities, ours included. And it's a pleasure to represent us. One of the things that I think is on our work plan is we're working towards the March 7th, 8th homeless count, and what the implications of that are relative to life in the municipal jurisdictions in Metro Vancouver. Homelessness is very evident, I think, in each and every jurisdiction. It is a costly item. It's an item that's pretty front and center. Last week, on Tuesday, we had the announcement of 82 affordable seniors housing units being built up on 72nd Avenue in cooperation with the partnership with the Shepherd of the Valley Lutheran Church. And I can assure that the people in the audience and the township residents, there will be more announcements about the meeting the needs of the homeless in our community over the next couple of weeks. And I think they're exciting, and I think they demonstrate both the strong partnerships we have in this community and the strong leadership in terms of trying to deal with some of the homeless issues. So stay tuned, and you will be hearing more in the weeks to come. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Davis.
It's that time of year again when the agricultural show at the TradeX Center in Abbotsford. It's January 26th, 27th, 28th, and I know we have with the BC Farm Museum up there, and you can go and see everything that you ever wanted to see, all the new things, all the innovation in agriculture, and it's up at the TradeX. We're trying to get it down here in Langley, but we have to go to Abbotsford. So if you're interested in agricultural, anything to do with turkeys or milk cows, anything, you can. It's on the 26th, 27th, 28th up at the TradeX. Thank you.
Big green tractors, yeah. All right, thank you. Anything else from council? Okay, so now we'll move on to other business, and I'm going to put Councillor Richter on. Councillor Richter, you have an item for other business?
Yes, I know there's been some coverage on this in the local media, and I know that our staff are pretty diligent about making sure this happens, but until we get a change in provincial law, I would like to see us adopt this proposal. Council show its support for this proposal. Whereas the installation of sprinklers on balconies and in attics help protect apartment homes and save lives, be it resolved that the Township of Langley require the installation of sprinklers on balconies and in attics of new condominium and apartment buildings when they are being constructed. I so move.
Thank you. Seconder. Okay, Councillor Davis. Just have a question for Councillor Richter and for staff. Well, first of all, maybe staff. Does the Township of Langley, with provincial legislation, are we able to put this into the building code, or do we need the province? And if it is the province, then maybe a way to have this referred to the province. Mr. Seffi, exactly how does this work?
Thank you, Your Worship. There are two potential scenarios, Your Worship. If an application comes in for rezoning, then I suggest that the condition could be added as a condition of rezoning. However, to put this as a requirement of the building bylaw would require provincial approval, and we are not sure that could be done without the approval of the province in terms of adding it to our building bylaw requirement. And I guess I could add that at this point, the requirement is there for buildings that have more than 4 stories. However, if there are buildings with 4 or fewer levels or stories, then the requirement isn't there. And I guess the other thing I would point out is that there haven't been many 4 or fewer story buildings in recent years.
So this would allow, so the 5 and 6 story buildings that we see in the Township of Langley, it is a requirement to have sprinklers in the balconies and attics in those already?
That's correct.
That's
Your
the
Worship.
other one. So what you're saying that if there is a third reading on a condominium project that's less than that, we could require this as part of the one of the recommendations. And so does that need to be a policy that this council would pass now to send to staff, or would it just be we'd have to do this on every application as it comes forward? What's the best way to proceed with that?
Your Worship, it could be done in both ways. It could be done as a policy direction or on a case-by-case basis as applications come forward.
Okay, good. That's helpful. Thank you. Councillor Long?
Thanks, Your Worship. So I see this as I guess, direction for staff to come back with a report to make it part of policy. That's 4 stories and less, because that's not required. And I think we should simultaneously, if this passes, then refer this to the LMLGA and the UBCM as in form of a resolution to take it forward to the province. And I had a question, so I'd like to add that to the motion, but I also, what about retrofit? I mean, is there some kind of device that could be employed that would, be utilized in existing buildings? I wonder if that, when staff comes back, that could be a mention in there. I think our fire chief might be interested in helping us with that too, because there's a lot of buildings already in existence that are potential fire risks, I think. So many have barbecues and so forth too on the patios. So 2 things, Your Worship. I would add the LMLGA and the UBCM referrals, and ask if staff is coming back with policy suggestions that we have a discussion about retrofit as well, or at least, a discussion about it.
Perhaps this motion could then be referred to staff to come back with a report on what we've discussed, and also maybe in that referral that a letter be sent to the province, and also that we, in the report, have a motion that can go to LMLG. Yep. Okay, so if you want to make that referral motion.
So done, yeah, I'll do that, Your Worship.
Okay. And second by Councillor Sparrow. So on the referral, any discussion on the referral? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Could you just read the referral, Ms. Bauer? If you could, just so we're clear, if you could read the referral. Okay, as soon as I know you've got to do a little capture.
Yeah, good. That the motion be referred to staff to develop a policy and report, and the referral be sent to the LMLGA, UBCM, and the province.
That's what you're...
Well, I think we need to get the referral back before we send any resolution to UBCM.
Sure. So that the report would come back to council with recommendations for the referral to UBCM and the province.
I did have a question. How soon do we end? I mean, to me, this is a pretty important health and safety issue in the community. Can we expect a report back from staff fairly quickly on this?
Mr. Seffi, rough timeline on a report back from staff. I know the province has been looking at this. I heard something on the radio that Mr. Coleman, Minister of Housing, was certainly wanting to do something with this too.
Yes, Your Worship, we can certainly try and expedite it as soon as possible. I think in the next 3 or 4 months. But having said that, we can also make sure that council is aware of this particular work being in progress if an application comes in for a condominium building that has fewer than 4 stories.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so with that, then I will call the question on M1 on the referral. And that carries unanimously. Is there any other business? Okay, Councillor Long.
Okay. Well, I would like to refer Mr. Dolfo's presentation to staff and to come back with us at the possibility of meeting his request for the resurfacing of the track.
To be moved to the 2018 budget.
Yeah, but the staff will come back with a report.
Second by Councillor Whitmarsh. And he does have a deadline of, I believe, the end of March, so that would have to be expedited fairly quickly. Okay, any discussion on that? I'll call the question on 2. Carries unanimously. Is there any other business? Seeing none, motion to terminate. Councillor Davis makes a motion to terminate. Seconder, Councillor Arneson. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So the regular evening meeting is now terminated. The public hearing will start momentarily.